So I think what we can do first, if I bring in, let's bring in this Zen one. So we'll show you that one here. So we've got that. So we're going to go this one. So a lot of straight lines on the outside. You've got the hearts. You've got a couple of like ovals in the centre. So I thought if we do that, so remove that design. So we're just taking the stamp off, just like you would any of our other stamps here. So if I set that to the side at the moment, and then I'm bringing my stamping platform, as you can see. There we go. So I'm just going to place that on as we would any other ones. And then I'm just going to bring my stamping mat in. Now, if we go, let's just go for the black for this time. So I'm just going to use our Spectrum Noir. I'm just going to use our Jet Black Harmony Quick Dry ink pad. So I'm just going to stamp, just going to give that a good coverage. Now, as you can see, I'm actually sitting tonight. Usually when I do my crafting, I do like to stand. So I'm going to just lean over just that wee bit more. So you maybe see my head just popping in the way, but I'm just going to press down, give a good bit of pressure. So there we go. So as you can see there, if I just bring that in, use the inks, my favourite inks I must add, Quick Dry. So there's your actual main image from this one. What did I say this one was? The Zen. So if I bring, there we go. So look at all that detail in there. So as I say, if we used it on acetate, even if you do your hot, not your hot foiling, I'm trying to think the word, hot, it will come to me, not glitter powder. It'll come to me just in a minute. So if we were to use that onto acetate, you could be colouring them in with your pens and that, and embossing powders. That's the word. Came to me in the end. I knew that it would. So you could be doing that on acetate and creating the stained glass effect. So that's one of them. So what I'm going to do at the moment is if I just die cut a couple. So I'm just going to bring in another sheet. I'm just using our stamping card. So again, all that I'm just doing is I'm just going to tap that on. And we're just going to press down. Now I'm just using the black, but of course we could be using different colours. So for this one, what I'm just going to be doing is I'm just going to actually stamp a couple exactly the same way, this design. I've got another sheet here at the moment because I just want to show you exactly how the dies work with them and how they overlap. So once again, I'm just going to stamp this out, going to give this a good coverage, and then we're going to stamp into place, like so. So there we go. So that's just got, well, I've done 3, so that will do at the moment. So I just want to give you the idea. So if I move this to the side, so if I bring in, just bring in the first one that I've done. So I'm going to remove this, and then let's bring in, I'm just using our Gemini plates. Now, just for a bit of quickness, what I'll just do is I'll just trim this down, just so I've not got all that cardstock going through. So if I bring in our die, so I'm going to use, for the first one, I'm going to use this outside cutting edge that we can see here. And we're going to bring our plates back in, so just our normal Gemini sandwich plates. And we're going to sit this just over the top. Now, what I've noticed about these dies and the way that they stamp, the actual die sits just on the outside edge of the black line. So you can see, I don't know if maybe you can see it to the side. Let's have a look and see. So can you see, I'm not sure if you can quite see, but you actually see the black stamping line all the way around. So that gives you a good indication of where to sit the die. So you're not having to worry or not having to take like a wee guess, you know, am I to the left, am I to the right? You've got that black line that actually sits on the inside of the die. So that gives you the perfect die cut all the way around. So let's just take our tapes, and we're just going to tape that down as we will. So I just want to try, I can see without popping my head in the way. Just going to tape that down. And then once again, tape that side as well. So I'm just putting a wee bit of tape down. And then it's just our plastic shim, our magnetic sheet, and our top cutting plate. And then we're going to run this through. So if you notice, I'm actually using our Gemini Junior. So that works perfectly because, well, size-wise it works perfectly. It doesn't just have to be your big daddy. So that's coming out. So let's just move this and move this. And then let's peel this off so that we can see, and take this bit off and this bit off. There we go. Now if I bring this in, hopefully, can you see now, let me just bring that, there we go, that way. Can you see the black edge all the way around? That's giving me the good indication of where to sit my die. So there we go. So we've got that all the way around. So that's our first one. So that's our main layer. So we could be leaving it like that. We could be colouring that in. We could just be sitting it on the top. What we could do is die cut the layer inside and then pop it on top with 3D foam pads. And I'm going to do something similar, but I'm just going to take one of the other images that I've stamped and I'm just going to do exactly the same. So I just want to show you how the actual idea and the concept of them work. So let me just set that back into place. And let me just pop that tape on my hand, get rid of it just now. So I'm going to take the next one and bring them in again. Now, once again, I'm just going to take the next one that I've already done. And once again, all that I'm just doing, so if I bring that in for you to see, I'm just going to overlay that. I'm trying to get my head out of the way, you don't want to see that. And I'm just going to overlay it just so I can see that black outline again, just sitting on the inside of the die. And once I'm happy with that, I'm going to tape that down. Let me be a bit generous and get a new bit of tape instead of that tiny wee bit. There we go. So take that down and we'll get another one just at the side. So this is what's creating the dimension and the matting and layering. So we can be popping that on with our glue gels, which obviously we can determine the depth and in the dimension. If we're using our 3D foam pads, we could be using our thinner ones, we could be using our thinner ones. You know me by now. I've always got my Crafter's Companion 3D foam pads and my small snippy scissors. These are something you always see me using. But I have to say, actually, while we're talking about the snippy scissors, if you do have a bit of time where you like to do some cutting out, like I do, there's no reason that you can hand cut these as well. So if I bring that into view, just so that you can see, there we go. So there we are. So that's die cut that next layer. So this is where, if I was to, which we will do just shortly, but if I was to sit that on the top, so I'm sitting it flat on the top at the moment, so this is where it overlays. Let's see, I'll put that in my view. So there we go. So that's it, overlaid at the moment. But as you can imagine, once we've put some 3D foam, that's actually starting to bring up the height that you'll see just in a minute. So that's 3, and then we'll just do a third one just so that you can see and get the idea. And take this one out. So these are all launching on the 7th of May with Sarah on HSN. So can we believe it's been a couple of weeks already since she was last across the pond, eh? That's when I was here doing that marathon of Facebook Lives, which the response from everyone was absolutely fantastic. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. I appreciate you loved watching the Facebook Lives as much as I did doing them. So I'm just taking my next die in. So again, all that I'm doing is I'm just having a look and I'm just marrying them up to where I'm happy with. And then we're just going to tape that down. Now we'll just use that one bit of tape at the moment. And then we can pop that through. And then what you can see with this next one, I'll show you just in a minute, we've still got 2 centre dies that also die cut out. So that just means that that gives you the option of the different layers that you want. Of course, that's, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's going to be 5 dies in total. So that's up to 5 different layers you could be doing. But of course, you could leave them at 3. So if I bring that in, so we've done 1, we've done 2, and then that is now our third one. So we could be leaving it at 3 layers. We could do the other 2, or we could do just 2 layers, 3 layers, etc., etc. What I can do now is, if you wanted, you could go and stamp another 2 and then die cut using these 2 centre ones. But what we will do is bring these 2 in, and we're actually going to use what we've already stamped, because you're not actually going to see this centre part because that's going to be sitting over the top. So that just enables us to do a wee bit extra die cutting and using a bit less of our inks and papers. So let's just pop that in. So we've done it so that you can colour them in if you wish. You can also leave them colourless if you like. But of course, what about your pattern papers? If you've got any of Sarah's signature collections, why not die cut these? You know, each layer could be a different pattern paper and pattern cardstock, whatever it is that you've got in your stash, and that could look really effective as well. So you're still getting the mandala design. Well, you could be just die cutting them on their own, or you can even stamp onto your pattern paper, and that'll give you some different designs as well. So a good few different ways in which to use them. Shaker cards, another perfect way to use them. So if I move this at the moment, so that's the one obviously that we've already stamped at the start. I'll pop that up, and that's what I've die cut there. So that's going to be, what did I say that was? The 1, 2, 3, that's going to be the 4th layer. But keeping in mind, we're not going to see that hollowness because that's going to sit on top. And we've also die cut this center one, so we're just pulling that out and gently so that we don't tear. Pop that in, pop that to the side. So there's an even wee diddy one that pops out to the center. So even wee centers of your wee flower flourishes, anything like that, if you can get a hold of that just so you can see just to know more. Obviously I'm using black, but if you're using any of your colours, do your shading, etc, etc. So there again, there's another prime example where I was talking about creating a shaker card. So a wee bit of acetate behind it, some glitter or embellishments or that. You could be creating mandala shaker cards. So what we can just do next, we can just start to layer this up. So what I'll just do is, I've started to layer a few bits of matting layer. This is just our Centura Pearl and black cardstock. Now as you can see, I never quite got around to finishing doing the matting and layering, so we'll just pop this on. This is just something really quick and simple just to show you how they can look when they're all layered up. So if I take my pokey tool as well, so let's just peel this off. If you've got your Collal glue, your white glue, you could be using that, of course, you know me. If it's not my 3D foam pads, it's my double-sided tape that I'll use. Keeping in mind, everything that you see me using, you'll get on our Crafter's Companion website. So I'm just sticking that down, and then I've just got a wee black layer here, because that's going to sit just on the top. Let me bring that down for you to see. So if I just pop a wee bit more tape, and we're going to peel this one off. And this will just give you the idea as to, or the concept and the idea of these mandala stamps and dies. So let me just place that on. So now this one, our larger layer, what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to use our tape pen, or tape runner, and I'm just going to add some adhesive all the way around. So this layer again we could be using onto 3D foam pads or silicone glue, but I'm just using this layer as a base one and keeping it at one level. So you can determine, you can have them so the points are upwards or to the sides, it's entirely up to yourself. So let's just place that down. Then this is our next layer that I'm going to raise up. So if I just bring in my 3D foam pads, so I do like my larger ones, we do have our smaller ones as well. So all that I'm just going to do is I'm just going to cut our larger ones, and that'll just give us the option of different sizes to have. So let's just snip a wee bit more. Once again, your Collal glue, etc., would work just as well. So let's just peel these backends off. So the option is to, or the concept is to layer them straight on top. So if we can hopefully just see, you would be layering it like that, and that's the way we're going to do it. But you could offset it slightly so that you get a more, I don't want to say a more 3D effect, but a more bubbled effect of a heart. But we're going to go the way that is, so we're just going to layer straight on top, like so, and we're just going to place that down. Now we've got our next layer as well, just here. So once again, I'm just going to take some of our larger 3D foam, so I'm just going to place this one in the middle, and we're just going to layer that on top. So once again, you could offset it, you can do it at different angles. If you've coloured them all differently and then offset it at different angles, the look and the effect that you can get from that will look really smart. Now let's see if I can pick this up, which I can't. So we've used our pokey tool, and then let's just use some more of our 3D foam pads. So let's just snip a smaller one, like so. So we're just taking this off, and we're just going to match this up, and we're going to place that on. And then if we take our final one, which is this tiny wee one that we've just die cut, So once again, all that I'm going to do is I'm just going to take our foam pads and I'm just going to cut a really small one. I do have the small ones to the side of me, but just for quickness, I'm just going to do this one, cut this one down, seeing as I've got these larger ones to the side. And then we're just going to peel that off. And we're going to stick this on. Any small detailed elements that you sometimes find hard to stick on, just use your poke tool. And then there we go. So that gives you the idea as to how the mandala stamps and dies work together. So let me move my copy out of the way. There we go. So we can see there. So if I start to tip that up, you can then see the height and the dimension that we've got on there. So I've used all 5 dies, but you could just use 2, or you could use 4, you could use as many or as little as you want. You can do double layers. So although we've just got the 5, you know, you can do multiple layers of the 1, and then that just shows you the height and the dimension that you can get.